Why haven't teachers in the US organized a mass walkout yet if pay and even the kids they teach are so bad? What's the holdup? Teacher strikes are very common in many parts of the United States. Teachers have unions, but they aren't national, they are local. And sometimes those unions do indeed call strikes. A national strike would be incredibly hard to organize and execute, and given the current political environment there are things that could backfire spectacularly. Education is funded at the local level. There are strikes all the time, but the US as a whole heavily discourages labor banding together to collectively bargain. Probably the need to eat. Teachers striking has negative consequences for them because it can easily turn public sentiment against them when the state frames them as being selfish and just in it for the money. And parents get pissed off that their free daycare isn't available. So the public is very likely to support anti-strike measures like back-to-work legislation or binding arbitration that could very well leave them worse off. Especially with the political state where teachers are a common scapegoat for anti-woke stuff and a general dislike for public education. When the Columbus OH teachers went on strike in 2022, the state cut off their health insurance. As long as social safety nets are tied to your employment, striking will always be difficult. My kid can't go to school, then I can't go to work. They would make enemies of the parent voters. The trick would be to copy the bus driver strike. They still drove people around, but refused to take payment from riders. How do teachers provide a service for families, but stick it to the administration? Don't take attendance? They could have organized through the teachers' union, but I think many of them don't want the children to suffer, which works to the benefit of the state and schools who know they would be forced to make changes if that happened. Even in the worst schools, there are students who benefit from good teachers. I think you'll find that's the reason many teachers don't quit as readily as you might expect. My pay and my kids aren't bad at all. In fact, they are both pretty good. I'm not going to strike because another community is a shitshow. I totally support teachers refusing to teach in that community though. They certainly have and have done so repeatedly throughout history. There was a district near where I grew up where this happened literally on an annual basis to no avail. Many states have since adopted anti-strike policies for teachers at public schools to stifle it before it happens. To have an effective strike or protest, you need a definitive solution that can be enacted. Getting kids to behave is a difficult thing to nail down. It's like protesting against racism. Like, yes, we all agree it's bad, but what can the government do about it? We need specifics. My district actually has a clause in our contracts that makes organizing walkouts grounds for immediate termination. Sure, we could fight it legally, but with what money? Most of us are already working second jobs just to make rent. The system's designed to keep us too busy and broke to fight back. I have a great union that went on strike a few years ago, and I can't complain at all about my pay and benefits compared to other teachers. There are so many days I desperately want to just walk out. These kids are feral, cruel, have no attention span, have no tolerance for unpreferred activities. Now I'm Gen Z and had a smartphone as a teen, but I genuinely blame technology for 90 of the problems. These kids are dealing with addiction. It's sad. I show up every day because I need a paycheck, and because they need an adult to care about them during the day. And we keep going. Turns out they still need to eat and pay rent. They do strike quite frequently, but as a matter of public record, they are in fact getting paid quite well, at least public schools. If anything's bringing down the average, it's Catholic schools paying nuns wages. Maybe because you're hearing from a vocal minority. Because they have bills to pay. Because each state governs teachers separately. You are only allowed to do a strike after your union has gone through many other steps to reach an agreement. Some states do not allow strikes at all. If you do strike without doing all that, it's an illegal strike, and you can get arrested or pay a huge penalty. You mean when 400,000 Black Latino students walk out of New York schools and you know what happened? No one gave a shit.